Hi, it's Dustin Lanier. Thanks for listening. Please find me on LinkedIn for original public sector operations content every week. And please reach out to me if I and my team of procurement professionals at Civic Initiatives can help you be a public procurement change agent. Thanks, Anthony. So on the prior slide, we talked about thinking about branding and how important it is to understand the role that we have as advocates for this profession and using that to drive and work on the recruiting issue. So I have a speech that I give called Talking It Up, which has some game characteristics and some networking and tabletop discussion characteristics. And Anthony, you used a phrase that I specifically point to in that speech as being one that we need to stop using, which is the phrase that I fell into procurement, because it's almost self-deprecating in the way that it's described. And I actually came to procurement later in my career, but I find it to be a very compelling career choice, and I really enjoy the challenges and the opportunities created by it every day. So, in this speech, I picked out 2 or 3 slides that represent elements of that. There was an article in the Psychology Today looking at people who'd gone to the MBA and had basically been unable to continue to act because they had gotten into this psychology place where they weren't able to perform and they were selling themselves short, and that has a direct impact on their performance. So our words to ourselves matter about how we talk about procurement and how we came to procurement and how we become an advocate for the role. So selling ourselves short or self-handicapping is a behavior that limits the effectiveness and respect that we get from others. I do challenge people to think about how they talk to young people about procurement, how they create jobs that attract new people to procurement, and the willingness, like you said on the prior slide, to train people into some of these new roles. So the slide here on thinking about how we talk to ourselves, be positive, your mind is more powerful than you think. What is down in the well comes up in the bucket, and so fill yourself with positive things. So if you want to be an advocate for this profession and for bringing new people to the profession, think about how you talk to yourself about how you came to this work and what it means to you, and challenge you to go out and think about how you talk about procurement and attract new people to consider this role. At the NPI event year before last, Maria Rue from Georgia talked about a presentation material that they have in their recruiting. It's a pop-up sign that says, "What the heck is procurement?" Trying to speak in a millennial Gen Alpha type of way to get people to come up and say, well, what the heck is procurement? And so really thinking about that communication style. So that's on thinking about the branding and procurement starts with the words to yourself. The other thing I pulled from a prior speech, when we think about the staffing gaps and the impact of how we deal with some of the demand, maybe it's the end of some of the federal funding packages or new initiatives from individuals or pent up projects that are coming back to light as things stabilize. The staffing gap is an issue. It is a capability issue. So at the year before Capo, I led a panel with Jennifer Alford and 2 other people, and we went through a variety of ways to think about addressing staffing gaps, from interns to temp to some of the services that Civic provides, where we help with out-tasking 1 or more parts of the RFP portfolio, to re-engineering processes in order to reduce steps. So if a procurement takes X amount of time, but we're wasting time on a governance step that doesn't add any value, eliminating and being willing to stand up and challenge that particular method can increase time. So increasing throughput, I talk about that in about 10 slides on a different ways to think about attacking that problem. But this particular panel I thought was really thorough. We had 3 or 4 voices on it, and we do maintain a podcast, which is the Public Procurement Change Agent podcast, and I've been putting stuff out there once a week for 2.5 years or so, and so there's a lot of good content on there. So if you're interested in more thinking on that particular topic, email me at dlanier@civicinitiatives.com, and I'll get you to where that podcast is, and good discussion in there if that's an issue that you are dealing with.